Okay, so today I'm going to be reading to you guys the Barefoot Book of Earth Poems. And what this is it's actually a collection of 29 poems from around the world that all celebrate Earth. So it's by all different poets. And it's fun to read and listen to poetry because they can help people think about familiar things in new ways. And the natural world is full of beauty and wonder, so that's a fun thing to write poems about. So, what I want you guys to do while I'm reading this is I really want y'all to notice and understand some of the elements of poetry, such as these. So I'm going to ask you guys if you can tell me what these are, just so that way, can I borrow this? You can have a quick little review, so you'll remember what it is that we're looking for. So, can someone tell me what rhyme is in a poem? Yes, Chris?
Is it matches the word that it says?
Mm-hmm. That's close. So it does match the word that was in the line before. But what about it helps it rhyme? Yes, Jason?
Saying the same words.
Using the same words. Close. Farrah?
They both have the same ending?
Yes, exactly. So you guys are very close. They both have the same ending. So rhyme is words with the same ending sound. So in poems, we also notice that there's rhythm in them. So, yeah, Connor, what's rhythm in a poem? How it what? How it goes, yes. But how does the poem go? What gives it rhythm? Elena?
What gives it rhythm is when they sell the same and keep rhythm, it kind of like something gets faster and faster and it sounds better and better.
Yeah, so there's kind of like a pattern to it, right? And it helps it have kind of like a beat, like in music. Yeah, so it's the pattern. And it sounds like a beat. So repetition can actually go along with rhythm. So what is repetition in a poem? Repetition. What word do you notice in repetition?
I don't know.
Yes, sir? Repeat. Yeah, so it's a word that's repeated multiple times. And what that does is it kind of emphasizes what the poet wants you to get from it. Bless you. So it's words repeated. And it actually can add to the rhythm while conveying meaning. What about descriptive language? Yes, Magali? So it's words that describe, and why do you think an author might say, let's think. Descriptive language. So why do you think the author might add these details and describe a word more than just saying, the bee, but instead they would say, the bumblebee with its yellow and black fuzzy stripes. Why do you think they might do that? Yes, Alana?
Because it tells more about the character.
It tells more, so it gives, it can add like sensory details that you can resonate with and actually visualize. So, and what about figurative language? Sometimes this question will pop up on your running records, and it asks you to describe figurative language. So, figurative language, you hear figure. Do you guys know what figures of speech are? Yes, Magali? Yeah, so kind of. So figurative language, an example would be, yes, Zoe.
Like say a word that
Mm-hmm. So they use a word that isn't exactly,
a word.
yeah. So instead of saying her blonde hair, they would say like her hair looked like golden thread, you know? And that's because it can create new and stronger effects. Yes, Chris?
Can I get a tissue?
Oh, yeah, of course. So, figurative language, figures of speech. That create new and stronger effects. So now we're going to move on to what we learned yesterday. So this should still be fresh. Does someone want to tell me what alliteration is? Yes, James.
It's two words that have the same beginning letter.
And so what is that beginning letter? Is it a vowel or consonant?
Consonant.
It's a consonant, yeah. Words, and they have to be close together, remember?
Right.
So it's words close together.
It has the same first consonant.
Very good. With the same consonant. So now that we know what alliteration is, who wants to tell me what assonance is? Zoe.
It's a vowel in the middle of the word that makes the same sound.
So it's the same vowel sound. Same vowel sound. Okay, so now that we've gone over what these things are, whenever I'm reading, I want you to tell me if you hear any of these in the poems. And also, I want you to tell me what you notice about the poem and how it makes you feel, and any words or phrases that really stand out to you and that you like. And also what the theme is. What is the author or the poet trying to tell their audience? So, we're going to start with Behold. It says, above, above, all birds in air, below, below, all earth's flowers. Inland, inland, all forest trees, seaward, seaward, all ocean fish, sing out and say again the refrain, behold this lovely world. And I'll say it again. Above, above, all birds in air, below, below, all earth's flowers. Inland, inland, all forest trees, seaward, seaward, all ocean fish, sing out and say again the refrain, behold this lovely world. So, do you guys hear anything that we just talked about? Yes, Elena?
It's like they repeat the first word with the second word, but like in a different style.
So there's repetition in that, right? And that repetition can create
A beat.
So rhythm, yes, yes. So the next poem is a little bit similar in the elements. So this one is Father and I in the woods. And it says, son, my father used to say, don't run. Walk, my father used to say, don't talk. Words, my father used to say, scare birds, so be. It's sky and brook and bird and tree. So what do you guys hear in that? Yes, Jason?
Rhythm.
Yeah, there's rhythm to it, right? James?
I really can't sing it. The one right before assonance.
Alliteration?
Yes.
Where was the alliteration in that?
Son, my father used to say.
Son and say. Yeah. What about, what's repeated throughout this poem? There's
Son,
one
my
line.
father used to say.
Yes, Jane?
My dad used to say.
Yeah, my father used to say. So what do you think this poem is saying? Son, my father used to say, don't run. Walk, my father used to say, don't talk. Words, my father used to say, scare birds. So be. It's sky and brook and bird and tree. Yes, Elena?
He's trying to tell you what his father said and what happened when he was a child.
So what do we think that his father was trying to tell his son?
To don't get in trouble and tell them about nature.
Maybe, yeah. Yes, Mason.
Pass things down from like generation to generation.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. Yes, James?
Maybe not to run away from nature. If you're scared, don't run away.
Yeah, so what I think he's saying is I think he's telling you to slow down and appreciate your surroundings, appreciate nature for what it is, which I think is a really great thing that everyone should do. So this poem is called Look by Grace Nichols.
That's a nice name.
And I love this illustration. I'm not sure if everyone can see it, but it's a woman with a bowl of fruit, and I think it's really beautiful.
I see it. That's
So
nice.
this is called Look. Look at the sunlight shaking patterns through the trees. Look at the raindrops cupped cool green and cassava leaves. Look at the bananas turning nice and fat and ripe. Look at the watermelon. How about a sweet mouth-watering red slice? What did you guys think of that one?
It was okay.
It was okay?
No, it was good.
It was good? Jason, did you hear anything? What did you hear?
It was talking about fruit.
It was talking about fruit, but did it describe fruit where it just said, there's a banana here?
No,
Yeah, it gave descriptive language, a sweet mouth-watering red slice. Talking about watermelon makes you want to eat it, right?
It's details.
Yeah, great details. Look at the raindrops cupped cool green in cassava leaves. You can kind of see it, right? You can imagine it. So, now this one is one of my favorites that I read in this book. So this one's called For Forest. And this one is Forest could keep secrets, Forest could keep secrets. Forest tune in every day to water sound and bird sound. Forest letting her hair down to the teeming creeping of her forest ground. But Forest don't broadcast her business. No, Forest cover her business down from sky and fast eye sun. And when night come and darkness wrap her like a gown. Forest is a bad dream woman. Forest dreaming about mountain and when earth was young. Forest dreaming of the caress of gold. Forest root sing with mysterious Eldorado. And when howler monkey wake her up with howl, Forest just stretch and stir to a new day of sound. But coming back to secrets, Forest could keep secrets, Forest could keep secrets, and we must keep Forest. Yes, Lana?
Some of the sentences it has rhyming at the end and some at the top.
Yeah, so there's a lot of rhyming in this one, right? James, did you notice anything?
Like in both of them, it repeated something twice.
Yeah, they did at the beginning and the
Forest
end.
keeps secrets and Forest keeps secrets.
So what do you think that means? Does that mean?
No, it means the forest has secrets and we must keep it a secret.
Okay, yeah. So what about? How do they describe the forest? How did they do it? Have you guys heard of personification? How did they do that? Do you remember any of the lines, Elena?
Like, it's telling what's going on and it's telling how it's descriptive.
So one example is it says, Forest letting her hair down. Does the forest have hair?
No, I think they're talking about the trees.
Yeah, what do you think they're talking about leaves and grass and maybe vines?
The trees.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great way because you can see it. So then also, I want you guys to listen to this line and tell me what you hear. From sky and fast eye sun. From sky and fast eye sun. What do you guys hear there? Yes, Elena?
Something like flying up in the air.
Okay.
The whole, like, the forest.
Yeah, I can see that. That's not quite what I'm looking for. I'm looking for one of these words. Yes, Farrah?
The one under rhythm.
The one under rhythm. Repetition? So this says from sky and fast eye sun. It sounds similar, but it's not repetition. Does anybody have a guess? James?
Fly and high.
It says from sky and fast eye sun. Listen to the sound. Sky, Fast I.
Start fast and I.
Fair, what is it? Close. I'm looking for one of those terms, remember? Yes, Jason?
Rhyme.
So, it does rhyme, but I'm looking for something else that has to do with the vowel. Elena?
Alliteration.
That has to do with the consonant.
Assonant.
Assonance. Yes, that's assonance.
See, it was right there.
So alliteration is actually a little bit easier to hear than assonance, right? Because assonance, sometimes it just sounds like a rhyme. So, oh, and what do you guys think the theme is? I think, so it says, forest could keep secrets and we must keep forest. What do you guys think that means? Tyler? Keep the forest safe, and how can we do that? What are some ways that we can do that? Yes?
By not chopping the trees.
Not chopping down trees.
I know.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, plants are great for us. They provide oxygen, right? Elena,
Take care of animals.
take care of animals. Yeah. James,
Don't pollute the earth.
don't pollute. Zoe,
Stop burning down forests.
yep, stop burning down forests. Jason, do you have something you want to share?
Hunting.
Hunting, yeah. Not hunting in places that we shouldn't.
Like
Limiting hunting. Yeah. So now we have this poem called I Spun a Star by John Foster. And once again, the illustration is beautiful. I want you guys to see it, all the stars. The drawings in this are just phenomenal.
That is beautiful.
I know. It's great. Can you guys see it in the back? Okay, so this poem is called I Spun a Star, John Foster. I spun a star which gleamed and glittered in the night. I spun a star, stood watching spellbound from afar, until it disappeared from sight. A shimmering speck of silver light, I spun a star. Do you guys hear anything? What about in that first two lines? I spun a star which gleamed and glittered in the night. What are you guys hearing? Chris?
Repetition.
Repetition. So I spun a star is repeated multiple times. Mason, why don't you tell me what you hear in this? I spun a star which gleamed and glittered in the night. Think about the terms that are on the board.
Repetition.
Okay, so you're with Chris there. Yes, Shane? Descriptive language. Yeah, gleamed and glittered in the night, stood watching spellbound, a shimmering speck of silver light. Yes, Farrah? Alliteration, yeah, so what's alliteration there? I spun a star which gleamed and glittered in the night. Gleam and glittered because they have the G sound, right? At the beginning. So what about, this one's called corn growing. Snow no longer snowing, wind ends its blowing. Every stream fresh flowing, a cockerel loudly crowing. New grass blades slowly showing. A bullock deeply lowing. The chilly evenings going, and almost without knowing, the corn growing. Yes, Connor? Do what? Glowing and blowing. Where is that? Sure. Yeah, those rhyme, right? And in this one, it's fun because every line rhymes. James, did you have something? What did you want to say?
I think it was repetition. Under rhyme.
Repetition?
Repetition.
Where did you hear repetition?
Read.
Do you want me to read it again? Okay. Snow no longer snowing.
I meant alliteration because snow no longer snowing.
Yeah, snow,
Down.
snowing. And then what about this line? Every stream fresh flowing. Who hears alliteration there? Where is it, Elena?
It's like in the middle of the paragraph.
Every stream fresh flowing.
It's spun or flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh.
Fresh and flowing.
Yeah.
What about a cockerel loudly crowing? Chloe, do you know where the alliteration is there? Remember, it's the consonant at the beginning of the word, so I'll repeat it. A cockerel loudly crowing. What word started with the same consonant there? The same sound. A cockerel loudly crowing. Layla? Cockerel and crowing. So what do you think the theme of this poem was? Talking about all the things that are going on at the farm. Yes, Connor?
Maybe what they're doing.
I'm sorry, what?
Maybe what they're doing.
Yeah, it's what everything is doing. Talking about the chilly evenings, new grass blades, things that we don't really think about a lot of the time whenever we are on a farm, right? We just kind of think about the animals.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good descriptive language. Farrah, did you want to say something?
It could also be the farm, what they do, and what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Elena?
It's telling what kind of animals are on the farm and what happens during the day.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay. So now that we talked about poems and refreshed our memory on different elements, I think it would be fun if we wrote a poem together. Do y'all think we can do that?
Yes.
So, I'm going to pull out popsicle sticks and I'm going to ask whoever I draw to give me either an element of a poem or a word of a poem, okay? So, let's start with Gabriella. What would you like our poem to be about?
About butterflies?
Butterflies. Okay, that's really good. I like that. So you want it to be about butterflies. So Farrah, how would we describe a butterfly?
They can fly.
So we could say what's a more descriptive word for flying? Soaring is good. Connor, what do you think?
What they do.
What they do. So we're trying to think of a word for flying. Can you think of a synonym for flying that would be more descriptive? James?
Flapping.
Flapping. Elena?
Gazing through the air.
Grazing. Wait, gazing.
Gazing, like you're
Okay.
flying fast through the air.
Okay. Chris, did you have something you want to share? Oh, okay. So, what word do you like better? Flapping or flying? Flying?
Flapping.
Flapping? Okay, we can just, why don't we just use both? We can say the flying, flapping.
That's an alliteration.
That is alliteration. Good job, James. Oh, that looks like an N. The flying, flapping butterfly. So now let's think about what our second line could be. Connor, what do you want our second line to be? So the flying, flapping butterfly, we can say what it's doing besides flying and flapping.
There could be going to home.
It could be going home. Okay. So the flying, flapping butterfly is on his way home.
Flying his way home.
What was your suggestion, Layla?
Flying his way home.
Flying its way home. Are you all good with that? What if we use a word that's not flying or flapping, though? Elena?
Like going home.
Going.
They're gazing through the air to go home.
Gazing through the air to go home. Zoe?
What? You gave me words to
Perfect. Give me a word.
flapping.
Flapping? What about fluttering? Fluttering. Fluttering its way home.
That's a really good one.
Be my cover. Sorry.
So fluttering its way home. And don't worry if I don't call on you. during Independence Time, if you finish everything, you guys can create your own poems. Because I would really love to hear them. And if you'd like, you can work with a partner. But whenever you're writing your poem, I don't want it to just have rhymes. I want you guys to try to use alliteration or assonance or repetition. So just don't fear if you don't get called on. All right, Carlos. So we have the flying, flapping butterfly fluttering its way home. What do you think the second line should be? I think it would be awesome if we could find a word to rhyme with butterfly if you just want that to be your task.
Is it assigned? Can they pull up my computer?
And it can just have one syllable, two syllables, and then we can add on to it. So think of a word that rhymes with butterfly that could go with our poem. So it just needs to end with that I sound. Let's give Carlos a minute. If you'd like to pass it, you can. But I'd love if you could think of a word. Or you could talk to Magali and Zoe and y'all could brainstorm together. If that would help. Magali, Zoe, y'all have any suggestions for Carlos? Any word that ends with I that you think would go with our poem. Do you want to tell you what word I'm thinking of? What's up there? The sky, right? So Carlos, now I'm going to give you, that was kind of a tricky part. Okay, so what could we say about the sky? The flying, flapping butterfly, fluttering its way home. What is he doing up there? Through the sky. The flying, flapping butterfly, fluttering its way home, through the sky. We need a few more words in there. So what can we say instead of through the sky? Chris. Okay, we need it to end in sky, but I do love that suggestion. Zoe. Through the beautiful blue sky. Are you guys good with that?
Yes.
I think that's awesome. So through the beautiful blue sky. So we have the flying, flapping butterfly fluttering its way home through the beautiful blue sky. Okay, now we'll do one more line, yeah? That's good, Kealan's not here. Tyler's not here. Annabelle's not here.
Wow.
I know.
Other people kind of
Zoe!
is here.
The flying, flapping butterfly fluttering its way home through the beautiful blue sky. And then why don't we try to get the last word to rhyme with home as well? Think we can do that? It doesn't actually have to end with just an ohm sound. It could end with an O sound, because that would still sound similar. If that would be a little bit easier. The flying, flapping butterfly fluttering its way home through the beautiful blue sky. And again, if you'd like to brainstorm with Magali or Carlos, you can. Do a little turning and talking. Do you want to call on James or Elena? Okay, we'll call a friend. James?
On the butterfly's way home, he gets gets trapped in a web of a spider.
Okay, that's a really cool storyline. But we're trying to find something that rhymes with home. But I do like the creativity there. For sure. Elena.
Like he's going home, but he got trapped in foam.
Trapped in foam. That's pretty fun. Farrah?
They were going on a play, but it found a store and there was cones.
And what?
They were cones.
There were cones. Okay. That's fun too. James? I'm gonna write suggestions right here. Do what?
Wait, what?
Carlos.
Feeling all
Feeling all alone. The flying, flapping butterfly fluttering its way home through the beautiful sky, feeling all alone. I like that. Carlos, you did awesome.
I'll say that.
Okay, I think we created a really good poem.
I like that.
Okay, fun.
I'll put
So,
that on class.
is it about independent time?
Yes, it's nice. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So,
Yeah.
if you guys finish what you're doing in independent time, the stuff will be up on the board. Then, if you guys want to create a poem and then call on me, I would love to come read them.
Well, actually, Miss Whitlow, let's go ahead and let them do that because
Okay,
we're only
yeah.
about 20 minutes before lunch. So let them just
Okay,
work on
yeah,
that.
fun.
And we're the partner, and we'll just do that. And then whatever we didn't do today, we'll just roll over to Monday.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
So since it's fresh in their brain, let them go ahead and work. That was cute.
That was fun.
That was fun. Oh my God.
I'm still recording.